Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Igor and this is Igor Knows Best. So basically today we're going to be trying at least to rebuild the electrical installation in my shed that I built 2 or 3 years ago. What we need to get the job done is 2 double sockets. I've got 2 of them actually. 2.5mm twin and earth cable. I took about 10 meters. That's going to be more than enough, I think. A nice second-hand light switch. It's a nice stainless front one, very expensive, cost me absolutely nothing. It's a second-hand unit. A little consumer unit. There's actually just the back of it. It goes like this, very nice, probably cost about £10. A few, about 100 cable clips, and a beautiful second-hand light fitting. It actually cost me nothing because it was non-operational when I got it, but I just pretty much all I did honestly is I replaced the starter in it, and that went straight on. I'll show you the actual starter and how to replace later on, because that might get handy at some point. And okay, let's get going, guys. Okay, so first thing first, we're gonna put the little consumer unit up on the wall, and based on that we're gonna route our cables, and we'll go from there really. So let's get going. What you really want to do with your consumer unit is it should be easily accessible, but not too easily accessible, if you know what I mean. So in case if anything trips, you should really be able to get a easy access to it, but it shouldn't be too easy so it's not going to get damaged. Now we need to find our cables that they actually supply the light fit-ins. Yeah, found it. So we'll see if it's long enough. And yeah, we're laughing basically. It's all good to go, so I'm just gonna quickly put it up, and I'll see you guys in a minute. So we got our, let's say, light fitting circuit mostly complete. What we need to do is we need to wire up the switch by the doors. We got 1.5 cable going just under the ceiling, so it's safe and secure. We got our consumer unit over here. It's absolutely fine, and we got enough cable to wire everything up. What we need to do now is to put a supply cable, which should probably be, to be honest, about 6mm square. Anyways, we're gonna put this, and we're gonna run another cable to the sockets. And how we're gonna do this, we're gonna run it again sort of at the ceiling level, and we're going to drop it down where the actual socket is going to be, just for sort of just to make things a little bit easier. Okay, so let's go. So I'm measuring now the the cable length. What I really want to have is probably about 20-30 centimeters spare cable hanging off. So let's say I can always cut it down, but it's always harder to extend cables, so you really want to run it a little bit longer than you need. The cable's pretty thick. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. We can either go with 12mm auger, and I think we're probably going to do 12mm, just not to make it too big really, but that should be perfectly fine. If it's not going to be big enough, worst case scenario, we can always drill a bigger hole. That should be perfectly fine. So we can take this bad boy now. And we can again put some cable clips, make it nice and secure, and we'll move on to another one. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put the double socket. I decided to put it just next to the bench because at the end of the day I'm using it for a pillar drill, little Dremels, drill bit sharpening, etc, etc. So it will live over here, and we're going to run the cable up to the top and around to the consumer unit. So let's get started. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Now that we have the socket on the wall, we know where to put our 2.5 full supply. And again, I'm leaving about 20 centimeters of a slack cable, just in case really. And hey, let's put the cable clips. Okay, so we got a cable prepared for one of the sockets. Now we're going to do the other one on the opposite over there, and we can start putting everything back together. I'm not sure how much cable do I have left. I'll start from the actual consumer unit, and I'll run it along the ceiling and put it, and let's say I'll see how much cable I have left and where the socket could be. I'm hoping it should be enough for what I wanted, but worst case scenario we're just going to make it a little bit closer to the consumer unit, and that should still be perfectly fine, I think. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm putting this, I'm going to cut a little bracket to put in here just for the time being, so we can actually attach this socket. So we got the bracket cut. Where we want the socket is somewhere around there, ideally. Yeah, that should be perfectly fine. That's basically it if it's going about the sockets. So now we should be okay to put the light fitting back on the trusses. I'll show you how to replace a starter on a light fitting. It's really simple jobby. So first thing you need to do is you need to open up a light fitting, which isn't very complicated itself. Just undo those clips, take them off. We'll need to do this anyway to put it back on a ceiling. So after you undo all the clips, you get rid of the perspex bit, and what you got is bare light fitting. So you undo the bulb by twisting it. So I can't remember which way now. Okay. So you take this out, put it carefully somewhere else, and this little bit here, this little thing here is your starter. So if you want to replace one of those, all you need to do, it's got like little pins, is you put it in and twist back in, and it will make such a little pop thing. So if you want to take it out, undo it counterclockwise and slide out. Put it back in, job done. We're pretty much ready to put the light fittings back up on the ceiling, and it's not a very complicated job, obviously. It's a bit of a pain if you do it on your own, but I think we'll manage it. Anyways, just going to put this back in. Okay, so this one's back in, ready for wiring. And put the tube back in. So we got one light fitting mounted on the ceiling, just needs wiring, and so I've started putting a second one on again, and yeah, I mean, as I said, a bit of a pain to do it by yourself, but it's absolutely doable. I think my keto is actually going flat, so I might need to switch. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's dying on me now. Well, not ideal situation. Maybe there isn't enough juice to put last one in. Yeah, baby. Yeah, she barely, but she made it. Okay, so we got this one in, and we need to join it with the other one, obviously, as they're connected in series. So let's just quickly do this. So let's wire it quickly and let's try to connect the consumer unit and see if it works. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly show you how to wire a wall socket. Just let me take this away. That's for the halogen outside. Yeah, so basically you got 3 wires. It's not very complicated. This is your neutral wire. So this is basically like a 0 reference point for the live wire, which is actual phase. And this is your earth wire. So it's, as you can see, it's bare, it's isolated. So I always recommend putting a little sleeve. So we got 3 colors: blue, green and yellow, and brown. And as mentioned, it's really not that complicated. So basically all you need to do is, at the back of your socket, this is a terminal for live wire, this is terminal for your ground cable, so your earth, and this is your neutral. So all you need to do is make sure you're always going to connect them right, because although the appliances will work if you swap neutral and phase, if there is going to be a neutral issue or like any leaks inside, you will be basically in a really bad situation. So live to live, your neutral to your neutral, and your ground wire into your ground terminal. It's seriously that easy. Then all you need to know is you need to put your front nice and secure. And this is basically it. So it's not a rocket science, although if you're not qualified for the job, I would highly recommend getting a qualified electrician, even to fit one of those. So always strip down around 10 centimeters. Unfortunately, we're running out of daylight, so we need to leave it as it is and finish off tomorrow. But I've checked the forecast. The weather's supposed to be nice and sunny, so no problems with that. We've pretty much finished anyway. We've done the most sort of the worst part is done. Basically, we've done most of the wiring. what's left to do for tomorrow, we need to wire up that consumer unit, and we need to try the supply, and that's gonna be it. Thank you. See you tomorrow. What's up, guys? Welcome back to day 2 of hooking up the electrical installation in my shed. It's actually rebuilding it, to be honest. So today we're gonna connect the switch, we're gonna connect the consumer unit, and we're gonna test it with a temporary supply, so stay tuned. So I've charged up the Makita, and all we need to do here is really put the switch back on the wall. So we're gonna feed them through the cable gland. This cable gland's actually a little bit of overkill for the job, but that's what I had laying around anyway. Fantastico. This is common cable. This is actually the cable that supplies the light fitting. So what we're gonna do is we'll have a look. This is where we connect the common. This is where we connect life supply. So the next thing is we need to connect ground cables. We got actually a ground terminal over there because this got a nice front brushed metal plate, so we need to ground this just in case. Obviously we got our beloved sleeve, and what we will need is also a terminal block. Okay, so now we need to connect the consumer unit. What we're gonna do is, we've got plenty of this cable here, so I'm gonna strip it down a bit. This is the live wire. I put a little bridge between the breakers. So now we need a little terminal block to connect ground and neutral as well. So I'm gonna put them in like that, and obviously I'll put some proper terminals as soon as they open the shops in the area. For a start, we're going to take all the neutrals, join them together. It looks like I might need a slightly bigger terminal block. Take this one off, as we know it's too small. And I'm just gonna connect it with a supply, which obviously is isolated. It's not connected to anything at the minute. So I've just hooked up the temporary supply for the shed, and look at this, the lights are working, the sockets behind me, they're working perfectly fine. There you go. Pillar drill's working. Everything's absolutely okay as far as I can see. So thanks for watching, that's it for today's video, and I'll see you next time.